Mikey Garcia, former featherweight champion, super featherweight, lightweight, and junior welterweight. He's actually four-time, four-division champ, and he's doing well right now. He's made a big name and big statement for himself, and I think a lot of things have been thrown his way because I know he had a dispute with Top Rank a couple years ago. Now that he's a free agent, I think he's under the tutelage of I think he's under Al Heyman as well. So I think right now he could be the next big thing, especially right now with the win with Broner. That made him a big contender. Even though he's been a world champion, but he has the prestige name to basically fight whoever, whenever. And the purses could be pretty major. Mikey Garcia right now, I think this is his time. He has a big name right now, especially with the win with Adrian Broner that he won in clear fashion. And I believe that right now fighting Lipinets could be putting him on the 140, maybe 147 weight division, making a statement in those two weight divisions because he is a rising star. He's been around for quite some time, and he's been undefeated for quite some time. He's fought a lot of top positions, and he's fought the more highly qualified champions in the weight division that he was in. So I think Mikey Garcia got everything basically on the grasp of his hand. With the whole situation that he had with Bob Arum, with the whole split. I think that was a little step back for him because that made him kind of not be active enough to be consistent and maybe fight more consistently and maybe even sooner. Right now he needs to go through Lipinets for the IBF title at 140. So right now that's the major step up for him, and that's the biggest challenge to date. Sergey the Samurai Lipinets, tough fighter from Russia. Has actually made a little impact. I'm not gonna say a little. He's made a good impact at the junior welterweight division. So this could be the biggest challenge and the biggest guy that Mikey has faced at this moment. But at the same time, I think he's very strong. He comes forward, breaks you down. The only thing I see in Lipinets' arsenal that he's very stationary, a little too stationary for Mikey. I think Mikey will give him a lot of angles to give him a little trouble. But the question is how strong and how big is Lipinets that could be the biggest challenge of Mikey Garcia, because you got to remember this: Mikey Garcia started at featherweight division and went up in weight. So his last fight I think was at 135. So now he's going up to 140 to basically fight for the IBF title. I think Mikey has the upper hand, in my opinion. But the biggest question mark is how strong and how hard Lipinets hits. If he is physically stronger and bigger than him. And actually he is, but how does he react with the size factor? But I think Mikey has a good movement to basically give him trouble. Use the jab, the same thing he did with Broner. That's what he needs to do with Lipinets. Now Lipinets needs to basically just press the action, tear the body down, and make it a fight. He can't let Mikey dictate the fight with the jab, because the minute he lets him dictate the pace with the jab, I think it's going to be an easy win for Mike. What Mikey Garcia needs to do in the fight is basically use everything behind the jab. Dictate the pace, make it a boxing fight. Mikey Garcia has been tested in many ways. He's been with tough guys, he's been with good boxers, he's been there with overall a lot of competition. I think Mikey has a good chance of making fights pretty easy for himself behind the jab. Dictate the pace, give him angle, don't stay in front of Lipinets, and basically just execute every mistake that he does. Don't let him get a groove. If you let Lipinets get in there, make it a fight, it could be a long night for Mikey. But I still think Mikey has a good chance to beat him in the decision. It's going to be a very hard fight. I don't think it's going to be like a walk in the park, but I just still believe Mikey has the tools and the abilities and the arsenal to basically dictate the pace and make it a very tactical fight. So I'm going with Mikey by unanimous decision.